Welcome to a special edition of Studio Central Face to Face. Doug Walker is usually in this chair, but since this topic is sports, I'm here instead. I'm your host today, Jim Allred, the new media director and host of Gridiron Central here at the Rome News Tribune. Joining me, Coach Tony Kunczewski from Berry College. Did I get that right?
You did. That's pretty good.
I had been practicing that for half an hour.
That's pretty good.
I'm going to call you Coach K for the rest of the interview.
That's
way
fine.
I can't mess it up.
That's no problem with that.
First off, it's great having you here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having us.
I will say, back in April, I was at the press conference, and I love the energy that you brought to the press conference. I've seen you out and about in the town a couple of times, and I see that energy. Basically, what's been going on the last 8 or 9 months since you were hired?
Well, that's a mouthful of a question right there.
Of course.
We started, I guess, in April, and the main focus of the first couple months was just to kind of get a sense of what Berry's all about. But I think before you get out in front of recruits and their parents, you better have a good idea of what the product is that you're selling, so to speak. So, we really try to do a good job of meeting with administration, faculty, staff, some of the students that were there over the summer. In fact, I think my third day on the job, we had an interest meeting of current students that may be interested in playing football. So we did that, and also a big part of that is trying to find the first 2 staff members, because I knew those were going to be critical, and I certainly would never be able to do this all with one person, and not just with the 2 staff members we had. I mean, the people at the school have been great and have really bent over backwards to help us get this thing started. So that's what we kind of focused on the first couple months, and we were able to bring 2 guys on in July, and really June 1st is when we started bringing guys in for the 2013 recruiting class. So that was a big part of it. I can tell you to date, it's February 7th, we've had 244 guys on campus since June 1st, visiting the school. So, we've had a lot of exposure, and we're happy with the enthusiasm and everything that's involved with Berry football. But, at the end of the day, we want to make sure it's the right guys that we have coming. So that's been a large part of it. And once school started, we knew that it was important to get in front of the Berry community. And, anytime there's something new, there's always a fear factor associated with that, and just the fear of the unknown. And we wanted to get out in front of as many different groups in the Berry community that we can, and also want to make sure that we get in front of the Rome community as well. So when I got asked to do this, I put everything aside and made sure that we're here.
Well, thank you for coming, for sure. I know back at the press conference, I asked you a little bit about the way the offense and defense, what fans can expect. I'll reiterate those questions now. What can fans expect to see from the defense?
Okay. Well, that's near and dear to my heart, because I'm not an offensive guy. I'm a defensive guy, and I don't pretend that I'm an offensive guy. I know what kind of drives me nuts on offense, so that was kind of playing into what we were going to do on the other side of the ball. But defensively, we plan to be an odd front, a 3-4 defense. I'm a big believer. I don't know if it was because I grew up in Pittsburgh with the 3-4 and the zone blitz, but we're a big zone blitz operation. We're firm believers in, we don't want a quarterback to be able to sit back there all day and dictate what's going on. We want him to have to make decisions in a hurry. But the game of football is certainly evolving. It's ever evolving, but certainly in the last couple of years with all the spread offenses, and they're trying to attack the whole 53 1/3 width of the field. So the days of those big run pluggers up front, we're really over. We need to find speed on defense that can cover sideline to sideline. So a lot of what we're doing, a lot of what we're recruiting is predicated on speed and getting enough speed out in the field as we can. But we're going to be a 3-4. And we intend to do a lot of zone blitzing too.
Gotcha. So a lot of pressure. You get that quarterback moving around, don't want him to spend all day in the backfield.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thought process.
Gotcha. Okay. I asked you about the offense in April and said we can't tell you what the offense is like quite yet. I'm going to ask you again. Any idea what your offense is going to look like?
Yeah, just to take a step back, 2 of the coaches we hired. The first one, Coach Masters, Nathan Masters, who's going to be our secondary coach and strength and conditioning coordinator. He's going to be on defense and helping me, and he played for us as a player at LaGrange and coached with me there at LaGrange as well. So we're going to adopt a lot of the stuff that we did at LaGrange. And he's done a tremendous job with our guys in the weight room, and an even better job recruiting. We've been able to get some commitments from some huge areas thanks to his efforts out in the recruiting side of things. But on offense, Coach Rich Duncan, who's been a head coach for 7 years up at Aurora University up in right outside of Chicago. He's kind of been a lot of places over the Midwest and in Iowa and Wisconsin and Indiana. He's an Ohio native. We're very fortunate to have him with his expertise and his experience. And I knew that it was important with these first two hires, one being on defense, one being on offense, that offensive line and secondary were the two critical positions because they're highly technique-oriented positions. So he's going to also coach our offensive line as well as coordinate the offense. And being a defensive guy, we felt like we wanted the mentality of being physical. And, so we're going to be really a pro-style attack out of gun. And I think it'll be a fun offense. I think we can utilize a lot of different personnel groupings. What that exactly looks like right now, I can't really tell you 100% because we have to get the players. But that's really going to be our base, offense. And I'm a big believer you got to have balance in offense. There may be some times we have to throw the ball 50 times a game, and so be it. But there might be other times where we need to run the ball 50 times a game. So, we want to try to get away from being one-dimensional, and that's the biggest thing in offense that we feel like it's important. And I know Coach Duncan will be able to bring that to the table.
Gotcha. You mentioned the coaches, and before we started filming, you mentioned you have how many players they've signed or already working out and whatnot?
Right now we have 15 guys currently that are working with us this spring. Some of those guys we recruited, some of them are already on campus. And these guys have been tremendous because of the 244 recruits that we brought on campus. They've been great ambassadors of our program. They've hosted a lot of these guys, whether it be overnight or meeting with them in the cafeteria. It's critical to have these core group guys because next year when we bring the influx of all the 2013 recruits, this is going to be our leadership. Now, whether that's on the field or off the field, they're still going to be our leaders, and they've been there and done that before at Barry, not necessarily in football, but they know about the school. And I thought that was very critical. And from past experience of him doing this once at LaGrange, I knew we needed a core group of guys to be able to help us with that.
Gotcha.
So that's 15. Now, unofficially, those numbers are changing all the time. We have about 35 commitments thus far.
That's great.
So, for us at the Division III level, it's a little bit different because we're not necessarily bound by signing date. Really 35 is above and beyond what I thought we were going to get commitment-wise. But really, we should have a very good picture in the next couple months of exactly where we're at. But we're excited about some of the guys, and I know we're going to release it soon on our website, some of the guys that are coming in. But I think people will be excited about some of the local talent and really beyond. And we really tried to focus on the Atlanta metro area in all of Georgia, but the Atlanta metro area up in North Georgia. We've had tremendous success thus far recruiting in Chattanooga, Nashville, Knoxville, the Birmingham area up in Huntsville, a little bit in the Carolinas and some down in Florida, but that's really our main target of recruiting. And if you can't find players around here, you can't find them anywhere. I mean, this is a hotbed.
Having helped cover high school football here for going on 7 years, that's definitely the number of teams going to the playoffs and the number of players. It seems like it almost be a natural that y'all should be able to find a decent amount of players from the area.
Yeah, and we have, and I know in the paper there's a couple yesterday. There's going to be more coming up here soon.
We'll definitely look forward to hearing those names. Well, I guess the other thing too is your first game isn't officially until September 7th. What happens for you? I mean, I know there's going to be tons of stuff going on, but what's your next order of business over the next 2 or 3 months?
Well, it's to finish up recruiting. And I get that question a lot. Well, how are you going to start this program? There's not really a lot of secrets. You got to do it with great people. And we feel like we're involved with some great players, not just on the field but off the field, and that's critical. That's the primary focus. We also have to focus on finishing out the rest of our staff. Again, that comes down to people. Certainly I know our administration is working hard on getting the facilities done, and of course we've had some unique things come up here with Eagles and all that stuff, but I know they're working hard on that, and there's going to be some decisions coming up here in the very near future. But as I've told every single recruit that has come on the campus, when you look at Barry doesn't do anything halfway. And we're asking people to take a leap of faith because they don't see anything tangibly right now. But we're asking them to take a small leap of faith because the biggest thing we can do is get people up onto our campus. And,
all I got to do
really
is go show them
itself.
the Cage Center. If that doesn't help sell it, I don't know.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So that's going to be a large part of the next couple weeks, couple months.
Okay. Well, that sounds great. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. Look forward to seeing what's coming out in the next couple months. And we definitely looking forward to that first game on September 7th.
Well, we are too, and it's in some respects the last 9 months, it feels like 9 days sometimes, and other times it feels like 9 years. But it's been a tremendous experience for myself and our family, and we love it here.
Definitely. Well, I'd like to thank Coach K for joining us on this special edition of Studio Central Face to Face, and we will be keeping a very close watch as Berry College will field its first ever football team this coming fall. We'll see you next time on Studio Central Face to Face.